What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day or night wherever you live, and hopefully you have many great days, weeks, months, or years to come. And so, with that being said, let's talk about the latest chapter of The Promised Neverland. Emma. She's scary. I mean, we have seen this side of her a few times. It's definitely not something we haven't seen before. We have seen how she has reacted to Ray in the past, with when apparently he was letting people getting eaten alive or sacrificed, and Emma's like, just don't do it again or whatever when she looked at him. We've seen the scary reactions and faces. Like, she has a darker side to her, something that clearly could cross the line like that. She's someone that could easily snap, depending on circumstances, depending on what happens. She is definitely someone that would do something very extreme without a second thought. Something that is just insane. Insanity, so to say. So, Emma's always shown signs like this. In terms of her character, it's always been there. She's always been that type of character that seems like she's a very good person. She cares about everyone, and she does. But this care for everyone extends to a very extreme degree. She goes to such extremes that it makes her look like she is psychotic. Like she is not all there in the head. And in some cases, I believe that to be true. But there is definitely some things off with her as a person, especially in terms of how far she will go. And in this chapter, once again, it's a very big reminder on what type of person she is. She isn't always smile. She isn't always someone that's trying to be like the big sister, a part of her family. She also is someone that can go a little bit off her, rockers a little bit if she is forced to, and that's what this chapter was really showing. But before I get back into that, basically the entirety of this chapter is negotiations. It's Emma talking with No Name. That's the name I want to give him for now, because there has been no name that's established with him, either for plot reasons, because the dude probably has a name that we recognize, like we will recognize his name or something, or he has, like, a name that, I don't know, it'll have a message or meaning later on down the road for the series, or maybe he doesn't even remember his name. So, I mean, there's many ways here, but I want to call him No Name for now. So, majority of the chapter is spent focusing on this man, No Name, negotiating with Emma, or Emma doing the negotiations, and he's kind of listening in and, stating how he feels about it, and that's what the chapter is about. Now, many might say this chapter didn't have a lot of content in it, but in reality, it really did, and it actually progressed the plot, and it also allowed us to get back to the roots of, the series. What made this series so good? The Battle of Wits, the cat and mouse, and all of that. And that's kind of what was happening here in the chapter. Battle of Wits. And we haven't seen something like this in a while, because when you think about it, what made the earlier stages of The Promised Neverland so good was the fact that you had it to where the children, or Emma, Ray, and Norman, they were going up against other adults. Like, we had it to where, Isabella. How Isabella, she had her little battle of wits with the children. That was a really interesting, concept to the manga, and many of us really appreciated that and enjoyed that. And so with this character being introduced, it's kind of like something similar to that. We're getting to see a battle of wits with another dude that's an adult as well, and seeing how these children can kind of outsmart him, even though he's obviously very intelligent, because clearly from the chapter, what was established, he is definitely not someone that is dumb. He knows what he's doing. He's very skilled. He is not lazy. I mean, he definitely has something else to him that we are unaware of, and that's what the chapter was trying to prove, that there is a lot off about this dude. There's a motive that we clearly do not understand, but he's definitely someone that you should not think is lazy or doesn't do anything. Because throughout the negotiation, when Emma was talking about everything, basically she stated that it's obvious that you're not someone that just sits here and does nothing and has the good life. You obviously have a good life, but you don't just sit around. You clearly go outside a lot because your shoes are worn. They're very worn. So that means that you have to walk a lot, long distances, to wear out your shoes. But on top of that, there is fresh food. Vegetables or fruits or whatever where the food is kept, and it's obvious that they weren't grown from the garden. So the only way that this can happen is if you went to the forest or close near a body of water to be able to get this food. So it's obvious that he goes outside. He doesn't just remain inside this cage and sit there for the rest of his life, but also he is fit as well. See, if he was someone that was lazy and just lived in comfort and didn't leave, he wouldn't be, fit at all. He would not have any muscle or anything. We have seen that he has muscle. He definitely is fit. So he is someone that works out, or at the very least, he does a lot of exercise to the point to where he is still fit to this very day. But on top of that, he is someone that isn't just, sticking in this, cage. He is willing to go outside and even go into dangerous territory, because it was stated that he goes either near the forest or in the forest or near a body of water. And from what we have found out, bodies of water, that's where, demons, they will be, the civilization. And it makes a lot of sense, because in any civilization, like even in our society, when there's a body of water, usually you will find a town near water. That's just common sense. In this case, it makes sense that the demons would be near water as well. So, him going near a body of water is actually like saying he snuck into a demon civilization. Like he snuck into their town and stole some food. That's what that looks like. That's exactly what is being implied here. That he went into a demon town, stole some food from like the markets or a grocery store or something, their equivalent of grocery stores, and brought it back. Which, like I said, is very, 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 very dangerous. So it makes you wonder exactly, like, how is he doing that without being caught? But then, if he's going to the forest as well, it's still dangerous, because there's a lot of wild demons out there. So, we know that he's going to have to worry and be cautious, run away or whatever, so he obviously needs to worry about that. Then, his gun, which obviously we should have thought about already, but I didn't really think about it, and it makes sense, too, when what was said. It's obvious that he missed Emma. He didn't want to kill Emma. He didn't want to kill any of them, and he missed her purposely, but it grazed her cheek, which, in a lot of essence, when you think about that, you don't really think about it when you're reading a manga, but in reality, if this was to happen, someone would have to have some very precise aim. Like, they would have to be very skilled with their gun. That would mean that they've had a lot of practice. Like, a lot of practice. Like, not something that was done in a month. It's definitely not like a month thing to get you to that level. For the man to have that amount of precision, to be able to accurately shoot like that, he had to have spent hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours probably mastering that to get to that level where you can be confident enough to just fire like that. He's definitely skilled with the gun. So, he's definitely spent a lot of time training on probably live practice on the outside, which would explain probably how he got away from some demons. Maybe he shot demons, the wild demons, and, got rid of them. I mean, we don't really know, but regardless, though, there is a lot of things about this character that shows that he has a lot of knowledge. He doesn't just stay cooped up in, the cage, and that's it. He does go out. So, it makes sense why he would be the perfect guide for Emma and Ray to go find, William, or the next shelter, so to say. So, getting into the negotiation, basically, Emma's, trying to sweet talk him, saying, like, what, they're going to be doing. For instance, common courtesy, they're going to be having their own food or whatever, and she's like, look, okay, we looked at your food supply, we looked at what we can do, and it's obvious that you're not really worried about limited resources. I mean, it's obvious that that isn't your big issue here. There's definitely a lot more going on than your limited resources. So, what really is the problem? And that's what Emma's basically trying to ask, and we don't really know what the problem is, but there's many ways you can kind of speculate this. Obviously, we know that the man is crazy. Emma even takes a shot at him, basically saying that, oh, you won't be having your tea parties anymore if we blow up the base, which is basically jabbing at him, saying you're crazy, and you talk to yourself, and you have imaginary tea parties with all the people you still think is alive, because, he talks to himself. And so she was taking a jab at his mental state. And so we know he's not all there. He's kind of crazy and all that. And so maybe the reason why he doesn't actually want them there is not because of the supplies, but because he doesn't know how to handle people. Maybe he just doesn't know how to interact with people, which makes sense. It'd be very realistic. I mean, when you're secluded for a long time from people, it actually hurts you. It's actually very bad on the mind and everything. It really negatively affects the human body. And he's definitely already showed signs of that. And because of this, you could assume the reason why he doesn't want them there is because he doesn't know how to act. He doesn't know how to socialize because he has had no contact. But on top of that, he's had a traumatic experience where he has lost loved ones. And that would mean that he might be in that state to where he doesn't want to risk that again. He doesn't want to go to that point to where he grows attached to someone and then they die and then he goes through that again. He probably doesn't want to have any attachment. It's kind of like this, okay? Let's say you have, like, a pet, like you have a dog or cat or whatever that you want for a pet, and you grow close to them and all that. They're like your, like, baby. They're like your part of your family. They are your family. Then they die, and then the sadness is so horrible. Like, you get so sad that you don't ever want another pet because you don't want to go through that experience ever again. That's basically this. He never wants to go through the experience of losing anyone again because of how painful it was. And that could be the reason why he doesn't want to know their names, or why he even cares to know their names, why he doesn't even call them by their names, why he's calling Emma and Hannah kid, because he doesn't want to say her name, because if he did, obviously, he would grow attached to them. It's like, anything, like livestock, for instance. When you're raising livestock, farmers, they don't name livestock. They don't name pigs, cows, whatever, that are going to be slaughtered, because if they did, they would grow attached to them, and there would be sadness or whatever, so they don't do that. They don't give any names to them, and that's basically what's going on here. He doesn't want to give them any names or call them anything, because he doesn't want to grow attached to them, and then lose them and just be sad. And makes sense. It makes perfect sense because of his, mental state, what he's been through. That's how he would react. So, very realistic in terms of that, in regards to that. I think that was really nice the way the writer wrote that in with his character. It's definitely because he's experienced, a lot of loss. So, anyways, Emma is threatening to destroy the entire base, which, okay, Emma. That's crazy. I mean, I don't think she would necessarily do it, because, she loves her siblings, so I don't think she would do that, but, she is crazy, so I don't know. I don't really know, but, whew, she's scary. She's really, really scary. So, how do you feel about this chapter? Let me know in the comments below. I love you all. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and please subscribe if you like my content. And if you want to support me, for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please go in the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. So I love you all. Please be safe. Chibi out.